Okay kids, welcome back to the shop. Today we're changing the battery on this '05 Dyna. Also, I have to change the battery in my Triumph Sprint ST, so I'm going to be going back and forth between the two. But let's start with the Dyna. This is pretty simple. Just remove the seat, you remove the screw, and it slides out. And it's the same with the Triumph. And as a matter of fact, it's the same with the Road King. So before I get too far here, I'm going to jump start this thing and test the charging system. So I'm hoping I could just jump start it right here after I remove the seat. And guess what? No, I can't. I have to remove the battery box. That's next.
And hopefully you guys can see, but here's a bolt here, and here's a bolt right underneath the key. So we need to remove those. There we go. It looks like a 13 millimeter.
I don't know what Gorilla tightened this, but guess what? It doesn't have to be that tight.
There you go. That's a half. You're supposed to take this one off first. This one's really long. And then do the bottom one. Because you see how that battery box dropped? So let's go back. Let's see if this fits better. Nope. One's metric, one is standard. Figure that out. Okay, so this thing's gonna drop down. And then, can I get this up now? Yep. All right. I still can't get to those connections. So let's get this thing out of here. I think that's crazy that one is busting my seat here. So now let's see if I, watch your fingers. Okay. So now this just pulls up and out. I don't like that. So I still can't get to my battery. That just, there's a little lip there you pull it up over. I don't see a date on there. It is an original Harley battery. I doubt it's the original one. Alright guys, I got this pulled out. This should be out far enough for me to give it a jump. Hopefully it doesn't fall down and smash my pipe here. Okay guys, I got the positive hooked up to the positive, negative to negative. The red's positive. I put this rag here just so I don't want to ground anything out. I don't want the positive hitting the frame. We got to be careful when I fire this up because again, I don't want the battery to fall. Once we get it started, I'll tuck that battery back in and then we should be able to test it. Let's see what happens here. All right, that's a plus. Alright, that was charging around 15 volts. That seems high to me. What here, 10? Yeah, 11, 12, 13. That seems high. Maybe not. I'm going to do a quick Google search. It just seems awful high for it idling. But let me do a quick Google search and I'll come back. Alright, according to the internet, we should be between 15.5 and 14.5. Now remember, it's an analog gauge, so how accurate it was. I checked the Road King, I fired it up, and it was right around 14.5. But again, it's an analog gauge. So I'm going to say that the charging system's okay, that it's not overcharging. Let's get this apart, and I am going to give the dealer a call and see if maybe they can help me out with maybe pay half for the battery. It didn't come with a warranty, but I did ask them if something happened, and the guy said that, of course, it's metric. Okay, 10 millimeter. Remember, take the positive off first. And let me get my rag because I don't want to short anything out. This is a tight squeeze, I'm going to tell you that. So, I don't know. Sorry about not being able to see, but there's a lot of stuff on this. Some people, see, that's why you don't do it. Did you see that? I was just going to tell you, some people wrap their wrench with electrical tape. That's what I should have done. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up. But this is, I don't know, maybe I have to, you should always do the positive first. Right? No, you do the negative first. Knucklehead.
This definitely is a tight squeeze, so I had to fight these out of here the whole time. I did call the dealer. They checked. This battery was a little bit over 2 years old. Over-the-counter purchases, the warranty's only 1 year. I asked them if they could do anything about it, and they said no. I was hoping maybe 20% off, so they said no, so I went right to Advance, and guess what? I'm not going back to that dealership. I lost the audio for the Low Rider, but this part is the same with any battery. The other battery had a stud system. This one has a bolt and nut system, and you're going to see how you have to shim the nuts so they don't fall off and then you lose them forever.
How I said some of them have different hardware. So this does have those nuts and bolt system here. I'll show you. Come in my way. And it does come with them. But the thing is, if you don't realize the way it works, and you just take the nuts off or take the bolts off, you could possibly lose your nuts, and you do not want to lose your nuts. Like that. Okay. I don't know what these are for. I can honestly say I've never seen these little sleeves before. So they don't go anywhere. I wonder what they're for. Don't know. At least got different sizes. And like a dummy, I didn't keep those from the other battery. So I'm guessing these, I don't know. We'll have to see which ones work. All right, let me show you. Can you guys see this? So this thing's going to go in like this, right?
All right, stick with me while I explain this. So you see these nuts, so they slip into the battery right there, and this is the bolt. And you can see they come with different size bolts, but you see how the nut is bottomed out already, and you have to remember you have your terminals on there, and inevitably the bolt isn't long enough to catch the nut, and then if you use the longer bolt, when you tighten it down, it bottoms out. So what I do is I take some foam from weather stripping. You could use a piece of rubber, it doesn't matter. I just put it behind there and shim that nut out. I'll show you here. And this is the Low Rider battery. And you see I just have some weather stripping, and I just I'll put the nuts in there, cut a tiny piece of weather stripping, jam it behind the nut with a screwdriver. You see I have the bolt there to draw the nut all the way front or to the face, and this will hold that nut in there so you don't have to worry about when you put it together. Number one, you can, and then the other thing is when you remove it for some reason, if you have to, the nuts, you lose your nuts, and like I said, you don't want to lose your nuts. The other thing is this comes with some little round sleeves, and what they're for is if you have to shim out your terminals away from the battery, and I actually had to do this on the Dyna Glide. I'm not so sure I have some video of that, and that's what those little sleeves are for. Hey, look, I did get some footage of it. You see that sleeve, how I had to shim that out? So putting this in is a pain in the neck. The wires aren't that long, so I did struggle with it, but I finally got it in, and for the most part, it was uneventful. I finished tightening down everything, and then I slid the battery back in place. Then I did fire the bike up just to make sure that everything was connected properly. Installing the battery box is simple. You just slide it back in place. It does have to go in a certain way. You'll fiddle with it, you'll see that. And then once you get that in, put the lid on it, and then you'll hold it up in place, put the bolts in place and tighten it down, and then you're done. Simple as that. Alright guys, there you go. We're going to put the seat on, but that's how you change a battery in a Dyna Glide. And as you can see, it worked with the Triumph, and it will be the same with the Road King. It's going to be the same with any bike. Just use those little tricks that I taught you, and you'll be fine. As always, leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.